Good afternoon, Scott Riley, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. It is Thursday, getting close to the end of the week, and it's been a busy one. Lots of earnings, lots of action, lots of things to do. Yesterday the market or the futures were down about 10, 11 handles, basically taken in stride. Some things acted better than others, and then today we walked in and futures were up, and it pretty much held all day long. So the bears, which had a somewhat of a chance to, I guess, test lower levels, haven't had enough, I guess, ammunition to do so, considering that they could have with, the Nikkei being down, overseas markets kind of lethargic, some of the headlines about just whether it's some bad banks in Europe or whatnot, but overall, just markets hanging around. And if you look at the charts and you look at the trends, it really doesn't seem like anything has changed. If you look here at the chart of the S&P, you'll see, still, very, very, strong trend coming in. This was an older E signal, so if you take this chart and I could just use a ruler and a pen, you could draw it all the way up where it breached it right here, okay, and then came back above, reclaimed it real quick. Lots of times we try and dissect the action very close up, and see what kind of correction we could have, and this was the first one on May 22nd after a really nice run. Came into this trend line, came back above, made new highs. Then we had this false little breakout here. Okay, then we had the head and shoulders top, boom, went to the upside again, false breakout. You had 2 days before that took place, came back lower. Then we had this gap and go, and we've been talking about this pattern here where you had a little commitment to the breaking of this descending trend line, and blah, 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 new highs, and this is where we are. The 8 days catching up, 21 days still very far beneath it. We have this new upper range where yesterday we held 1740, we have 1759, and we're just hovering here, and with some people scratching their heads. But it is what it is. Some of the banks are weaker, and I feel like some of the banks are dislocating, where Bank of America started to act a little weaker with J.P. Morgan, Goldman's trying to hang around now, and the banks have just not been the place to be. It hasn't been the focus. We talked about the railroads, which made all new highs and had a huge move a few days back, which I wasn't even looking at. And then you have high beta. So let's talk about high beta in tech, because that's what's coming out with earnings right now. So first things first, you go to Google, really nice gap and go on earnings, nice setup here, bull flag breakout. Talked about buying some calls into this move, sold 2/3 of them, still have a little bit on, don't have the stock. Today people are wondering, was this a red dog reversal? And to be honest, it was a small red dog reversal. So if you're not committed and you bought on this day and added on the breakout, maybe you sell some. But I think it's still fine as long as it stays above this prior high. Probably needs a little bit more time before it goes again. If you did buy the calls with me, and you bought the 1020s and you're worried about time decay, you know what? Sell the 1040s for about $10, and then you lock in your call spread because you bought it right, sold it up here, and and then you do that for the last bit of it. Well, anyway, we also know Apple's been acting very well. Been talking about this. This has been a very good vehicle for us, especially for me. I love trading Apple when it's in play. Here is the last earnings, the gap and go, quick move, started to reset up again. We talked about the move above 493, and there you are closing at 532, on its way to fill this gap up here at 540. Question is, does it happen before earnings? And it looks like it could, especially if it reacts well with Amazon, that is up for now. So with that said, people like you adding to Apple, don't think this is the time to add to Apple. You stay with it. Some people, I had a call spread when it broke above 493, got taken away from me last Friday. So this week I went to the stock versus another call spread. So now I'm going to wait till Monday and see what it's like. But it's always hard when they run it into earnings. Then then the report has to be that much better in order to get a bigger move. So with that said, Amazon came out after the close. This stock technically has been really set up nice. This was the first breakout of the summer. The retest last quarter, remember they sold it down and then went up real quick, and then it just traded off ever since to new highs. Guys trading it right now, I would just say use a little caution. But as long as it stays above 337, that's your pivot. Okay, stays above 337, perhaps try and stay long, and if it comes back below it, maybe they try and sell it off kind of like Netflix. If you want to look, I guess we'll see where it is right now. We'll go to our time plate. We'll go to 24 hours. And you will see you probably have to do the 5-minute chart. So go here, go 5 minutes. And it is trading right now, okay, above the 337. and it's creating a bull flag type pattern. It did hit as high as 365. So I'm sure if Sperling's playing out there, he's probably playing it long versus this 343 if he's in it. This is what I would be doing right now. If I was sitting in front of my computer trading it, I'd be long it after hours versus 343, and then if it were to get above 352, perhaps you get another move. Okay, but as of right now, you had a big move above this pivot, hanging out here, digesting it, and then maybe that happens. So we'll see. If you're trading it, sometimes you get a whole day's worth of trades in an hour. So with that said, stick with it if that's what you're doing. As far as just say like Apple after hours, let's see what it's doing. Now it's starting to go a little bit, so people are trusting that Amazon move sticks. I'm still long some Apple. Let's see what Google's doing after hours. Hasn't really traded after hours. Kind of interesting, but whatever. Okay, let's go to Zynga. Came out with earnings after hours. So here you are. A lot of guys on the virtual trading floor saw me buy the calls. If you're on Twitter, I'm sorry I didn't tweet about it. You don't get everything on Twitter. Bought the 350s that expire tomorrow. Okay, it's now above the prior high of 395. I sold a third to hedge it here right around 410, 415, so I still have 2/3 on. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow. If it stays above 4, stay with it. But again, I did weeklies that expire tomorrow. I think they were 18 cents, and so far almost a triple. So that's why I hedged some. So if you look at my virtual trade floor, you see me short Zynga. I am not short Zynga. I just have the calls, and I hedged this price right here. And I would say if this is any good, it should stay above this 395-ish. Okay, so you'll see what happens there. Microsoft is also out. Pretty strong report. Big time gap. It's also trying to put a little flag here. I guess if it stays above 35, that could look pretty decent. It's trying to digest what has been a big move. If you go to the daily chart, you will see it's I guess right above this recent pivot. So with that being said, pretty interesting. I guess actually, is it a 36? If it's a no, I don't think it's up $3. No, it's probably right here. So right above this. So I would say if it's going to kind of change its complexion, it probably needs to hold this 35. So let's go back to the 5-minute, and that's where it is. It's actually 35.65. So as long as it stays above this line here, the 35, I think momentum traders are going to try and stay with it. So with that being said, still a lot going on, lots of different types of movement. Question is, where do you want to be? A lot of people 2 days ago got very short on the brain. I did go home Wednesday into Thursday, pretty neutral, or what was it? What's today? Today's Thursday. So Tuesday into Wednesday, pretty neutral with some long, some shorts. I've maneuvered a few of them, and now at this point, you could still see I'm long the Google calls, I'm long some Apple, got back long a little Facebook today. Still in the XHB. Look at that, guys. At this point, you could trim and trail. What a nice move. And we talked about this 3 days ago. The VTF saw me get long it. I'm still long it, and was a nice move. Back in play. Home builders acting well with, they say, with rates going lower, that this is a good, good for this group. So it was a nice little targeted trade. Gold did have a bit of a move today. I still don't trust it. A lot of gold bugs were calling me, what's the levels on gold, Red Dog? What's the levels on gold? And getting pretty close to one right here. It did break above the recent high here of, what was this, 129.81, closed right around it. I was going to be long some silver, some gold, and I just, I'm flying to Tampa tomorrow for a wedding, and, it could gap up and be great, but I'm just not there. I didn't take it. There are some guys that did take gold or took a little silver, because silver also trying to act well, but after all these little incremental days, I've seen it before, and just it's not for me. What I do think what was interesting was that gold was up, and so were the TBTs, and the TBTs have been crushed. We talked about selling the TBTs, once it broke this upper wedge, okay, which was right up here. Okay, that was one level. There are 2 levels here that you could have done. One was right here when it broke this area, boom, and then when it broke this trend line from the prior breakout, you could have shorted there or the retest. So now here it is retesting this area. Today's the first day in a while that it got a decently green close. So there's 2 messages here. You have gold kind of breaking out, and then you have rates bouncing, or the TBTs bouncing, which is still going to have so much resistance there. So I do think if you had to close your eyes and buy something in 6 months from now, would it be higher? I'd rather be closing my eyes and buying the TBTs here at 72 for 6 months down the road versus buying the GLDs here at 129 for 6 months down the road. But that's just a macro thought from me. But at this point, I'm not really trading the macro thoughts. I'm just trying to trade the active strategies, and there have been a lot of them. Tesla had a nice bounce today after breaking down a little bit. We'll see what that does over the course of the next few sessions. This trend that was super duper strong got a little changed a little bit when it broke the 21-day here, came into the 50 for the first time, bounced, and then last week showed just didn't show power, and then broke again, and then today had a decently strong day, even with the credits news. So with that said, see if it can reclaim this this trend line here. But overall, yeah, I still think Tesla is going to be okay. Just the composure is different. The speed has changed, and at this point, it needs some time here. Someone pointing to a head and shoulders top. If that's the case, it's going to have to get through here first. But at this point, I think if you were long today, congratulations, you made some money. At this point, I would just take this on a much smaller time frame. And if you've been in it since the start of this move a few quarters ago, just be a little lighter. And that's really it. I'm not in tomorrow. John's going to be doing the morning call, the relaxed version. I have a wedding in Tampa, so I'll be going there with my family. I will be managing positions from the road, and I will probably be tweeting a lot less because I'm going to be on the road. So at this point, I would think up here you can't really have short in the brain. Same way you can't be all in long. Just continue to manage your trades, use hedges when you want to, and be very stock specific, because the stock specific strategies are the ones that are tactically paying some traders right now. Have a great night. It's been an active week, and I wish you luck tomorrow. We'll be back at the morning call Monday. Have a great night.